What is up? How is everyone doing this evening? It's good to see everybody. So, just want to say hello to Danny Boy. Always good to see you, brother. Miss Barton, I see you. Rob Flemings, Dark Dude, F. Davis, Barbara Brinson, Johnny Jimenez. Welcome back. Everybody's welcome here. Shadana, Daniel Torres. Wow, man. I really love to see everybody in the chat, man. This is really exciting for me. Um, Definitely engage. I want to see everybody here. So let's get started with the news, and we're going to dive into later on what is going on as far as fraud cases with the Apple Pay. So it's involving Apple Pay and linking different credit cards to it, and there's actually an issue with that you should know about. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later. All right. So first, let me change this section here. So, credit card delinquencies are on the upswing. A growing number of Americans are falling behind on their monthly credit card payments, a trend that may be a harbinger of economic troubles ahead, according to a new report from Wells Fargo. Findings from the bank indicate that credit card delinquency are surging among commercial banks, particularly at small lenders. In fact, late credit card payments at banks that are outside the top 100 in asset size recently surged to a record high. Those delinquencies raise the pressure on small and medium sized banks, which are already grappling with tightening credit conditions in the wake of three major banks' failures earlier just this year. So here's the thing. These banks are probably going to be most at risk. We know that Chase, the huge banks like Chase and Wells Fargo, they are too big to fail. I mean, people have said that over and over again. You guys probably understand that those banks are too big to fail. People are probably going to start moving their money when different runs on the bank happen. We saw that happen early this year. People pull their money out of those smaller, medium to regional banks and put them in larger banks. So I've been seeing this delinquencies are rising for Capital One because they're a subprime issuer, and then with the Apple Card, surprisingly, even the Apple Card is very popular with the mainstream because I mean, obviously, it's Apple, right? Everybody's gonna. Most people here in America have an iPhone, and um, it's a very popular card, but because they're letting so many people in the door and getting approved for the Apple Card, a lot of delinquencies have been rising with them as well. So, is everything gonna hit the fan soon? Listen, it's hard to tell. If you think everything's gonna hit the fan and these delinquencies are gonna end up becoming a bigger issue than it is right now, just hit the comment section, let me know. Next, Macy's big warning on credit cards is a big problem for some other retailers. So, a warning on the health of US consumers by America's department store is likely sending quakes through the C-suites and familiar retailers. So, C-suite, this is something that I'm not sure how many people know this, but C-suite just means executive suite, CEO, you know, chief operating officer, chief marketing officer, CMO, things of that nature. So on Tuesday, Macy's said its second quarter credit card sales tanked 36% from prior to 150 million. The culprit, bloated balances on Macy's Citibank powered credit card have been met with a rising interest rate environment. In turn, cash strapped consumers enduring an almost 32% annual percentage interest rate on the Macy's card. Wow, that is extremely I didn't even see that they were going that high with the interest rates. I knew that I recently saw the Quicksilver card had like a 30.4% interest rate, and I thought that was extremely high. And for the longest time, credit card issuers made it seem like 30% was the highest that they would go. It was actually around 30% for so long that I thought it was a mandate. I thought it was a regulation that was in place, but in fact, it was not. They can charge whatever they want for interest rate. Don't let them fool you. Now on the credit union side, I believe they are capped at 18%. So that's another feather in the cap for credit unions. That's why you should have some exposure to them. So um Macy's card haven't been able to pay off their bills. Macy's has opted to write off those balances. Wow. I wonder what the implications are for writing that off. Does that mean that they're not having those people are not having to pay that back, or does that mean that Macy's is just writing it as a loss, and so that it should be factored into kind of calculating what their share price should be for the company? That is interesting. So right now, if you have a Macy's store card, your interest rate on average is going to be 32%. That's amazing in a bad way. That's surprising. Um, yeah, let me know what is your highest interest rate right now on your credit card? I think I have quite a few in the mid 20s, and I think it tops out at right under 30% from what I've seen, but those tend to fluctuate. So I have to take another look at that and see what my rates are in totality. But the strong message here is that you should not be paying interest on your credit cards. Don't be like the average person out there, the average consumer. They don't know what's going on. They want to put all this stuff on the back burner. They don't want to care and see those bills and see those balances. You want to pay those statement balances off in total, so you don't have to get charged any interest on a monthly basis. And also, with these cards, I always say with these store cards is that you don't want to have a store card unless you frequent and shop at that store on a regular basis. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. The little bit of money that you're going to get at the register is not going to make up for the fact that you could be charged interest, or you don't want to forget about it. And the fact is that banks aren't going to look at those store cards the same way as they look at bank issued credit cards when it comes time to get approved, when it comes time to get a credit limit increase. Time and time again, it's stated that banks want to see other bank issued credit cards on your credit profile. That's what they're going to judge in at the highest, and really they're going to want to match the credit limits from those other banks, and they look at those in the highest esteem. So definitely be careful with those store cards. So I think my favorite store card would be the Amazon store card. I mean, I've had that for probably like 10 plus years now. The Amazon store card. It's definitely been a workhorse for me. I mean, I tell you, I literally get over $1,000 in value every single year just from the store card alone. Amazon's a big spending category. We buy something from there probably at least a few times a week, and definitely get a lot of value from that. If you have the Chase Amazon card, that's the way to go, I would say. But if you can't get that, at the time I had a lower credit score, so I couldn't get approved for a Chase card. So I had to go for the store card, and thankfully they approved me. Now it's issued by Synchrony Bank, which I saw Danny. I know they canceled you out, man. That's dirty what they did to you with Synchrony. But I think my limit's around $10,000 now with that card. So they definitely are willing to give you the limit. So Bank of America is offering credit card rewards for electric vehicle owners. All right. So listen, if you have an electric vehicle, because I've seen them on a road, but it doesn't seem like there's a ton of people with them. Put the letters EV in the comment section right now if you're driving around a Tesla or one of the other electric vehicles. Maybe you have a Ford pickup, a Ford F-150 Lightning. I want to know how many people got those EVs. All right, so the Bank of America custom cash rewards credit card. I'm sorry, not custom cash. The custom rewards credit card will now offer 3% cash back at electric vehicle charging stations, expanding the reward already offered for traditional gas station purchases. Bank of America is expanding this option because it noticed a 44% growth in electric vehicle charging transactions during the first half of 2023. That's huge. That's big. So people are really buying these vehicles out here. They're really buying these. In addition to offering customized cash rewards, cardholders rewards for EV charging station purchases, the 3% cash back for online shopping will now also include cable, streaming, internet, and phone plans. All right, that sounds like a nice little buff there. Well, a slight buff. I won't say a nice little buff because EVs are not going to be in the hands of a lot of people right now. Definitely on the upswing, but there's still a small percentage of the overall car purchasing. I think the last time I checked, it was around 8% of vehicle owners were buying EVs, so it's still relatively small. But it's good to see Bank of America making a slight upgrade to their card. So Amazon is considering. Let me get rid of this real quick. Oops, bear with me, guys. Yeah, that back. All right, so Amazon is continuing to bet on buy now, pay later. Amazon is expanding its financial services footprint by letting retailers integrate Amazon Pay, its buy now, pay later option, within their checkout to reach a new audience of buyers looking for flexible payment options. The equal monthly payments offering is now available at tens of thousands of other online stores. The buy now, pay later model was or has witnessed exponential growth as shoppers seek more flexible alternatives to traditional credit. Amazon extension of his the service beyond its platform to other retailer amplifies the trend's momentum. It also demonstrates the e-commerce giant's adaptability and determination to make a name for itself within the financial services landscape. Essentially, Apple is aiming to be at the forefront of the consumer payment experience and keep its users within the ecosystem of apps and technology. Amazon is engaging in a similar strategy, where the goal is to keep customers within its orbit, and its recent buy now pay later expansion highlights just that. So, listen, buy now pay later seems to be very much here to stay. I definitely have some family that are were very vocal about using buy now pay later. I personally haven't used it. I don't, I want to earn rewards on my purchases, but in the case of like large, I have used it in the past, and years past to stretch a purchase out by 6 months or a year at 0%. The only reason, the only way you want to use a buy now pay later service is to to take advantage of that 0% interest period. And the thing is, they're counting on people blowing past that 6 month period or 12-month period and getting automatically hit with all that deferred interest that will accumulate, and they will charge you on the back end if you don't pay it off in that period of time. So it's like a shell game. They're trying to move it around. They're trying to give you a slightly different payment structure and say, "Hey, it's actually a great thing. You're getting free money. You're borrowing free money," and then they know what your habits are. They've already done the studies on you. They already know that you're going to forget about it. And guess what? They're going to get all the money. They're going to dig into your pockets and get all the money they wanted to from the jump. They're gonna get everything that they wanted. So, Amazon is, definitely, it's a good business move to jump on the buy now, pay later even stronger, and I'm sure that Amazon is getting a cut of all of a small percentage of all those transactions that they're expanding to, all these different retailers that they're, allowing to sign on. They're getting a cut of that. Also, debit cards offered, to homeless people who clean up their own mess. Debit cards are given to homeless people. So homeless encampments, um, encampments, waterways in San Jose are polluting rivers, creeks, and streams with trash and biowaste. So between July of 2022 and June of 23, Valley Water's cleanup crews removed more than 2.7 million pounds of trash, debris, and hazardous pollutants generated from unsheltered people along Santa Clara County's waterways. To combat the mess, the region's water utility will begin providing debit cards to homeless people who maintain a tidy camp areas free of trash. And Valley Water announced Wednesday unsheltered residents can also earn debit cards by collecting and bagging. I was about to say begging, bagging anyone's trash found on land managed by Valley Water. That's interesting. We don't have much to say about that. But what I do want to get to, let's go to the next. That's it. Yeah, so I just want to let you guys know, I have a pinned comment below for the Credit Connect newsletter. And so, what this newsletter is, I do this every single week around Saturday and Sunday. Send a newsletter out with the latest topic that I'll be working on for the following month. And this week was about the 11. It was called. Let me just pull that up real quick. 11 chase mistakes 90% of people make. So definitely want to check that out. You want to be a part of the Credit Connect newsletter community. And what you'll also get when you sign up is a link to upgrade your Capital One card. So a big problem for people has been in the past that they weren't able to actually get to the upgrade landing page. And I have a link to that landing page when you sign up. And this person got just commented and said, just upgraded my old Venture One to the Saver One with your link. Thanks, man. So I love hearing stuff like this. A lot of people don't know about that link. It's kind of like a hidden secret, this link. I have a video about it as well. So definitely sign up for the newsletter. There's a bunch of other freebies in there I'm forgetting about, but find a lot of value with that. Cheryl, what's up? How you doing? I see you. CJ, it's good to see you back, man. Another creator here. Love what you're doing in your channel. Christoph, how you doing? And Cheryl said, stay away from synchrony. Cheryl, let me go back to the main. Synchrony is tough for me because I have so many synchrony cards, and I have the Amazon store card. I got the Venmo Visa card. I believe that's Synchrony issue, which I've started using at Walmart and getting a lot of value from, because that you can earn 3% cash back unlimited as a top spending category with that card, and it codes as a grocery category. So even though you're going to a big box store like Target and Walmart and Costco and Sam's Club, that Venmo Visa will code those purchases as a grocery store. So that's amazing for me. So definitely getting a lot of value. I got the Verizon Visa card, right? I got the PayPal MasterCard. All of those are issued by Synchrony Bank. So it's a love hate thing, I definitely have had to call into Synchrony recently because they messed something up with my auto pay. And so I had to call them and say, listen, we got to get this corrected. So they have their issues, and they do, you have to be careful because they will, close down accounts, and they will decrease your credit limit. And that's something I definitely are keeping my eye on. So let's get into the first video here. And this one's about wire transfers and how people are getting scammed by using this wire transfer technology. And you guys gotta be aware of this. Let's take a look.
The latest scam you looking at news wire money out of their accounts. Our consumer correspondent Becky Worley has details on how it's done and how to protect yourself. Good morning, Becky.
Eva, good morning. It's so maddening. Criminals impersonating banks using the threat of, get this, scams to trick people who are just trying to do the right thing. What's so frustrating, if this type of scam involves wire transfers, it's nearly impossible to get the money back due to a law that was written back in the 1970s.
Courtney Black says she received a text message appearing to be from her bank, Chase.
I got a text message that said, did you authorize a wire transfer? I texted back no. 2 minutes later, I get a phone call from a 1-800 number, and I answered it.
She says the caller identified himself as a Chase employee, and he would help her cancel the fraudulent transfer.
He told me, you need to enter this account number because that's the account it was going to.
Okay, so that was the first red flag right there, I would say, because I've heard these stories a few times, and it getting contact by your bank is pretty normal at this in this year. I'm constantly getting text messages from SoFi, my most used, my main bank, and I'm used to getting those text messages. I'm not used to getting calls, so I think the red flag might start to go up when you're getting a phone call from the bank, but especially when the bank contacts you and wants you to take some sort of action. They're supposed to be able to take whatever action they need to on their end without any of your input. They shouldn't need your input. Now, the long and short of this is that you really need to, at this point in time, you have to take what they're saying and say, listen, I understand that there might be an issue with my account. Hang up with them and then call back with the official Chase number, Bank of America number, Capital One number. You want to make sure absolutely that you're talking to the right company.
section, he was telling me how to do it.
Black says she saw all the money in her accounts disappear, but that the scammer promised this was all a part of the wire reversal process.
The next morning, I kind of got like a
Listen, if your account is ever zeroed out like that, I mean, you got to be setting alarms off at that point. That's got to be you should never see all zeros in your checking or savings account. That's the most extreme red flag right there.
feeling something wasn't right. And I called Chase and they were like, no, you were scammed.
In the end, she says she lost more than $11,000. Black says the scammer knew her date of birth, the last 4 digits of her social security number, her Chase account number, and her balance.
There's a lot of information that is on the dark web.
Scott Augenbaum, a former FBI agent, says stolen passwords and usernames from other website data breaches could be how Courtney's account was compromised.
The cyber
Now, I will tell you that, if they have all that information on you, you got your name, last 4 of your social, your address, that's going to be very convincing. So I can see how these scammers are making inroads and really, getting through and converting and getting these people to send their money to them. And a lot of people think that it's just older folks. It really isn't. If you look at the stats, it's actually there's a higher volume of younger people that are getting scammed, but it might be a slightly higher percentage, or that maybe older people are overrepresented for their population, their percentage of the population. But these younger folks are getting scammed at a high clip as well. Don't be fooled there.
are banking on the fact that 66% of the population is using the same password from mission-critical platforms.
She says that hacked user data can be used to log into other website accounts if the same usernames and passwords are reused. To fight this, some banks send you a code anytime a transfer of money is initiated, and he says that's what the scammers targeting Courtney were after, and she gave them the code. But many advocates say there should be more safeguards. The Electronic Funds Transfer Act and the Truth in Lending Act protect certain types of money transfers, but not all.
If a consumer disputes it with the bank or the creditor, then they have to investigate, and if they determine it's unauthorized, they reimburse the consumer. But there's a huge loophole for wire transfers. Those are excluded.
Sanchez Adams says she and the National Consumer Law Center have advocated for Congress to change these laws.
And it just seems
So definitely, thanks for CJ. You definitely don't want to be using the same password. I mean, it's so easy. It's shockingly easy to use a very good password for all of your different sign-ins for your different banks. I mean, I just use Google Chrome, can save it. Now, there's going to be risk in whatever you use, but I found it super easy just to go into Google Chrome and let it suggest a really hard password for everything. And I don't even know what the passwords are. All I got to do is log into Chrome and have that autofill into whatever website I'm logging into. But I'm not sure what else can be done here. I mean, it's tough to say. I want to see some more.
so crazy to me that all of these transactions that are not wires are protected by federal law and wires are not protected.
For now, Chase has denied Black's claims, telling GMA these types of scams are heartbreaking, and we urge all consumers to ignore phone, text, or internet requests for money or access to their computer or bank accounts. Legitimate companies won't make these requests, but scammers will.
Yeah, so I think that's a really good part to focus in on. So he says, requests that ask for money or access to your computer or bank accounts. No legit bank will ask for access to your bank accounts, and they won't ask you to move money. So those are big red flags right there. Anytime you hear that you have to take some sort of action to rectify what happened, you shouldn't have to do that. That's going to be the responsibility of the bank that you're working with. And so that's all the more reason to go ahead and call yourself, because nobody's ever gotten really scammed by contacting the official bank's number.
Now, it does seem illogical that credit card, debit card, and home equity transfers are protected, but wire transfers aren't. That said, Chase says the best way for consumers to protect themselves is to never share account information or those one-time passwords or codes. Never click on...
Definitely. So, one thing I want to say is that those wire transfers, you can transfer like $100,000, like hundreds of thousands of dollars can be transferred using a wire, that wire system that they have in place, and it can be very dangerous. I mean, when I saw that she lost $11,000, I mean that probably was everything that she had. So it's going to be devastating. But there's a lot of people out there with way more money to lose. I mean, if you're older, if you got a great job and you've been saving for a long time, you can lose a lot all at once. I saw somebody recently, and just a few months ago, a story, lady lost like 50, $60,000 dollars in just a matter of a week. I know that usually if you're working with a bigger bank like Bank of America, they are going to take it very seriously when you move a substantial amount of money. I did that recently during a home sale, and let me tell you, we went into the bank twice just to move this money to another account that we own. It was a lot. We had to speak to multiple levels of management. They didn't want that money to go, but definitely, some banks are more strict than others there. Now, if you haven't yet, go ahead and like this stream. If you want to see more live streams just like this, and you want to talk about more credit cards, you want to place a central location to meet every week to talk credit cards, and you want to be part of the discussion, then definitely like this stream so we can do more of these. Let's get on to Apple Pay now. This is a scam involving Apple Pay.
A WSMV4 investigation reveals a new kind of credit card fraud taking place on Apple Pay, and once you fall victim, it's difficult to stop.
So our investigative reporter Stacey Cameron tells us it happened to a Middle Tennessee man who tonight is still fighting to fix that problem.
This is the first bill that I got and noticed the fraudulent charges.
When it comes to his Truist Bank credit card, Joe Hewitt is careful.
Do you make any purchases online?
No, I do not.
That's why this spring he was shocked to learn someone stole his card information and started using it out of state.
The bank guy told me Apple Pay
to charge hundreds of dollars to his account, but shock turned to frustration.
I was angry. I was mad.
When Hewitt says the fraud didn't stop even after getting 4 new cards.
Wow. So this is like people like how in the heck can they continue to charge these cards even after replacing it 4 times? And why is this not being caught? It's actually through a pretty sophisticated scheme, and you have to go a couple levels deep to figure out what's going on here. Now, I want to say that it's good that it's only a few $100s and not a few $1,000s. And I'm not surprised that this man's name is Hewitt and he doesn't use Apple Pay, because I mean this is not surprising to me.
On Apple Pay and was getting my card numbers before I received them in the mail.
2 months after the fraud began, Hewitt says he's still fighting with the bank.
There's $630 worth of fraudulent charges that are still being charged to my account.
Hackers and scammers, they know which banks don't offer the best protections.
Alex Nettie is a cybersecurity expert. He blames the fraud in Hewitt's case on auto updating, a feature some banks use to automatically update credit card information on Apple Pay.
As a consumer, that sounds useful.
The downside? Nettie says if a stolen credit card is used to set up Apple Pay, thieves get the new number, expiration date, and security code every time the bank issues a new card.
They need to have a different.
So that's the big scheme there, is that they know once you attach a credit card to Apple Pay, then is whenever the owner of that card tries to get it closed down and then get a new one, they'll automatically get the new information within hours, sometimes sent to the Apple Pay account, so they can go ahead and use their phone and tap and pay. It's unlimited, like as much as they want. Now, this is the tough thing because a consumer will never see the number. This is a back end function. you never see the number that that is on the back end that's associated with that card, with that account. So there's nothing that you as a consumer can do about this. It's on the bank and it's on Apple to make this right. Now it says that some banks are using this function of auto updating and some aren't. That's a problem because it's very confusing because you never know if your bank is one of the ones that will update or if it's not. You have to call in, and the initial person you talk to is probably not even gonna know what's going on here. It's probably gonna have to go several levels higher. Now, it's actually a pretty good thing in the case where you do want to replace a card and that credit card is attached to subscriptions or it's attached to a lot of your bills that maybe you were paying your electric bill and you were paying your phone bill with it. That means that it will not it will automatically just start working to still pay those bills going forward. So that's the convenience part. But on the flip side, it's it's enabling these scammers to just continue, continuously getting new card numbers. So that's the problem. Now, when I've seen it in the past is that people could call in and request that that feature be turned off. And when you call in to get a new card, say, hey, just remind them, hey, make sure that the my information is not automatically updated on any sort of Apple Pay situation. And that's kind of how you can get around that.
Have a different kind of option for when that card is stolen to be able to flag it and say, hey, we need to revoke this authorization to Apple Pay.
WSMV4 Investigates contacted Truist to ask about Hewitt's case and whether the bank auto-updates credit cards on Apple Pay. Citing privacy, Truist didn't answer our questions, only saying that the bank takes potential fraud concerns seriously. Fed up with the bank,
They don't care. It's not their money.
Hewitt closed his account last month, saying he no longer trusts Truist with his information.
They say they're working on it, but that ain't what my statement shows.
Now, to protect yourself from this type of fraud, Nettie says call your bank and ask, do they auto-update credit card information on Apple Pay? If the answer is yes, Nettie strongly suggests finding a new place to bank. For
Well, I did not know that the recommendation was going to be so strong that you had to close your account. But I do understand why Hewitt, did that himself. He closed his account down. That's a strong stance to take. A lot of people are with their banks for 10 plus years. They got a deep connection there, and they don't really feel like most people don't feel like moving banks. That's why they don't really sign up for new banks and bank with multiple institutions. But I'm glad he put his foot down there and said, listen, this is too much. And this is another thing it reminds me of is that debit cards can be a little dangerous because the safeguards on debit cards are they have less safeguards for debit cards. When you get a credit card, um, there's a lot of perks that come along with that. And being able to get reimbursed is a lot easier with your credit card. A couple other things are really good about that is that you're getting that 30-day billing cycle, and you're getting a 20 to 25-day grace period to pay that credit card bill. So even if they don't rule in your favor, you still have a potentially like a 50-day float of when you don't have to pay that off. But typically with a credit card, if you have a problem, you can get the charge reversed. Even if you have an issue with the even if it's a legit issue, sometimes you can get the charge reversed. But especially when it's fraud, credit card companies are happily, in most cases, will reimburse you quickly. So that's one of the other realities around using credit is that it's safeguarding you oftentimes. And Nino, what's up, Nino? You said never use debit card as your primary account. Big no. Yeah, man. It's a lot of people don't know that it's a security risk because basically your debit card, that's your main account. That's where you have most of your money at. And if you can't do anything once that's going. So you can have 100K, 200K in credit, available credit, and somebody can knock down, maybe they get two of your cards, you're still good to go. You can still pay rent. But if they get your account, then guess what? You can't do anything. At that point, you are SOL. And Shadana, how you doing? You said I had to have my Chase debit card replaced this month due to fraud. I chose not to get another just yet because this isn't my main account. Okay. So you just want to let it ride for a bit. You want to just cool off and just and probably double back and revisit that maybe. Um yeah, fraud is thankfully I haven't had an issue with that myself, but I've seen it's seemingly it's getting a little worse this year. So, has anybody gotten a new credit card in the last week? Have they received a credit limit increase? I want to shout you out. I want to celebrate you. Let me know what you got. What do you guys have? And we have 72 people in here. Welcome everybody. Go ahead and say hello. I want to meet everybody new I haven't seen yet. Don't forget to hit the like button and hit the pin comment to check out the newsletter and get some links to some free stuff. Like I have links to upgrade your Capital One card. I've got links to um, to find the proper travel partner for redeeming rewards. So if you have a Chase card, you have a Chase Sapphire Preferred, a Capital One Venture X, and you're trying to find the right travel partner, it's got a link to a free travel partner lookup tool and a credit limit increase cheat sheet. So if you're trying to increase your credit limit on one of your cars and you've been struggling to figure out some strategies and some methodologies to use to increase that credit limit, I have a few in there for you as well. We got a few people with the increases. We got our average fish, I like the name. Our average fish says Navy Federal, not surprised there. Navy Federal is known house of high limits, $13,000 to $21,000 increase. Okay, 180-day restarting for next credit limit increase. I like it. Congrats on that. So that's you got the max 8,000. Nice. That's what I'm talking about. Now, did you know beforehand to go for 8,000 or did they just give it to you? I just wanna follow up and ask you that. Congrats on that increase, by the way. Oh, wow, we got Fred in here. Fred, in 2023 says built card, $25,000 starting limit. That's amazing, man. I didn't even know built was giving out limits that high. You so now okay, so let me do some thinking here. So if you had a $25,000 starting limit, that means you got to have a $250,000 income. Let me know if your income is $250,000 a year. Let me know if I'm right or wrong. I'm just if I'm in the ballpark. Whoa. Yo, what's going on here? Nino, what is going on? You said I closed down my Navy Federal Credit Union More Rewards card with a $20,000 limit. What's up with you and closing these cards? That's that's the Amex. That's a no annual fee card. Nino, explain yourself. Why are you closing that down? Or did you move the limit to the flagship card? Is that what happened? All right, Plumber says I got a $10,000 700 Freedom Flex and you're finishing the trifecta. Congratulations on finishing that trifecta there. That's a big deal for a lot of people because it's so hard to get in the door with Chase. You got the 524 rule, keeping you back, keeping you at bay, and they're just a premium, prime credit card issuer, so they're tougher. Nice, man. Congrats on that limit with Chase. Yes, I love the comment here. See, he's whoever gets paid 250K, let me apply where you work. Listen, I'm gonna tell you what, real quick. You know, quiet is kept. 250K is not that much as a it's a good amount. It's a good amount. Don't get me wrong. It is a good amount. But in LA, I looked at some videos in LA just last night. They had a one bathroom house in a undesirable area that was $1 million in LA. It was $1 million. Okay. When I was in New York, they had some very simple houses that were $1 million. There was probably 2 or 3 bathrooms, no garage. So in these larger cities, don't let people fool you. A lot of these six-figure cities are these six-figure earners live in these large cities, and that money does not go nearly as far as it does in the South or in a lower cost area in the Midwest. All right. Big C, I see you. Don't I didn't forget about you. You said Chase Freedom Unlimited, 17,900. Man, I'm getting so jealous right now. I got to Chase Freedom Unlimited, and my limit is has been $6,400 for like 10 years. This is crazy. But listen, Big C, congrats, man. Congrats. I'm not gonna stop you from getting your shine here. So yeah, Fred, man, you said living in Hawaii is not cheap. 250K is nothing. Yeah. It's not that much. It's not as nearly as much as you would think. You know, when you hear six figures, when you see 200, 100, you're like, whoa, what I wouldn't give to earn that. But what you don't understand is the housing is so expensive that it knocks you back. It knocks you down by 30, 40% sometimes. And that's where it really hurts. You know, you see, millennial money and how these people are earning all this money. But if you're living in a super expensive town, if you're in Manhattan, it's not going that far. And I was just talking to my wife and I said, listen, you could be making great money, but you still got a one bathroom apartment and you're living on the 10th floor or somewhere, and it's dirt out, like it's dirty outside. It's trash out there. It might be unsafe. So it's not as good as you may think. So Nino said, to finish this story with Nino, he said, Navy Federal Credit Union did not let me transfer $20,000 from the More Rewards to the flagship. It has to be for a new balance transfer card. Okay, yeah, I did read that before. Thanks for clarifying that. So I closed my More Rewards, but why didn't you just leave that open? I just thought, but okay. So Nino says it's therapeutic when you close down a credit card. I feel like, for me, Nino, this is just me personally. I feel like when I close a credit card down, for example, let me take this credit card out of my binder right here. My credit card binder. I'm gonna show you something. I had the Saver card. Boom, Saver. Beautiful. I mean, it's a metal card. It's nice. Capital One would not let me downgrade to the Saver One. They would not let me do it. Why? I don't know. Could we just be in Capital One, I guess. But I absolutely had to close this card because it came with a $95 annual fee. So it was therapeutic for me in that instance, to do that. But if it's a no annual fee card, I'm keeping that. All right. So, guys, I want to ask you guys. Let me know, what do you think about the content? What do you think needs to be covered more? What sort of institutions? You think is missing right now on YouTube? What sort of what types of videos do you think are missing? What credit card issuer or credit card or type of institution do you think is missing or not talked about enough? Just let me hear. Just you can yell at me. Just let me know what's missing. What do you think is underrated? What's not getting enough shine in the credit card community? Danny says business credit. Okay, so like business funding, business credit cards. Okay, all right. Listen, I'm all for business now. I'm all for business. I was trying it at a certain point recently. I was trying to go back and forth between personal and business. So I can definitely get back to that. Can we need some business cards in your content? Yeah, I agree. I need to get to some business cards. You're right. And Danny says, credit unions issued credit cards. Yeah, listen, I got a credit card right here. Boom. This you're gonna see this very soon, Danny. It's just to speak to that. This is gonna be from Sky One. I don't know if you ever heard of Sky One. Check this out. That's the Sky One Platinum Elite card. This is actually metal too. They're based in California, I believe. So I'll be working with them soon. But they have some cool cards with the good credit. I believe this card goes up to $50,000, by the way. So that's stated right on the website. Okay, so Amex Santos says Amex and Chase for business. Listen, I'm all about Amex and Chase because I actually have two Amex business cards, and I want the Chase Freedom. I'm sorry, the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited. I definitely want that card. So okay, thank you for the feedback, guys. All right, and we have some old but good. You says the Driscoll Estate Show says your Apple and credit card and Discover card videos came in clutch. You got approved for both. Apple no hard inquiry. Whoa, congrats, man. I like that's really good to hear. I'm glad that worked for you. See, I don't have the Apple card myself, and I was hearing a lot about that hack. So I'm definitely happy that you got that card and without an inquiry. All right, so oh, we got a lot here. Thanks for the feedback, guys. So much to read. Nino says some more content passing generational wealth. Okay. That's a broad topic there. I could definitely brainstorm on that one. And Danny says Sky One is a great credit union. Okay, that's good to hear you say that. I'm really, I wasn't familiar with them, so uh, I was a little hesitant at first just because I didn't have any information on it. But it's good that you're giving that your backing. I've been actually looking at them. Okay, yeah, they look. Listen, just by the people that work there, they've been very pleasant to me, very nice. So I'm looking forward to it. Listen, guys, thank you for your input and also really appreciate you hanging out with me this week. We're gonna do it again next Sunday at 7 p.m. Okay, I want to see you there, and you have a great week.